Alright, welcome back to the VLE Challengers Ascension Playoffs Day 3. I am your host Rebel, and joining me for Red Panda Gaming versus Salvation tonight is Storch. How are you feeling tonight, my man?
Feeling pretty great, honestly. Two very big name teams here in VLE. Salvation. Now, what a win they had the other day, Robbie. You want to go a little bit over that?
Yeah, I mean, they won their first match. That matchup you're talking about, Storch, they won 26-4 by the round differential against Ultralight Academy, which is wild. One of the most dominant series that we've had in this tournament thus far. And this is also probably the best series we got out of Waldex as well, the Star Duelist for Salvation. Now, this team has been improving endlessly since the group stage, Storch, and they're on a hot streak right now with a lot of momentum. So Red Panda Gaming definitely have a hard opponent tonight. But what do you think about Salvation here?
You know, I'm very impressed with what they brought coming into the playoffs. You know, group stages, I think, started off strong, got a little bit cocky, just didn't quite live up to their original expectation. And now coming to playoffs, you see the work that they've put in. And I don't know about you, but from RPG, outside of their comps, I just haven't seen that same change.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think there's definitely a lot more of a dynamic game that we're getting out of Salvation right now. And so they're looking to keep that hot streak going tonight against Red Panda Gaming. Now that we talk about Red Panda Gaming, this team is an absolute unit in the server, Storch. Lots of confident, lots of great players, and who seems to be a great coach in Anna. I'm excited to see how they perform in this matchup, especially 5AM Azumi, because Storch, we're getting 5AM Azumi, who we know is Bando, against Waldex tonight. What a matchup that is. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a riveting matchup to watch. Bando really likes to just get aggressive, get in their faces with the use of util. And Waldex, he seems to be more the sort of guy who's just gonna play a little bit slow and then just snap, peeks through a smoke, gets 3 kills. It's gonna be really, really exciting. For me though, on this first map, which, you know, don't know if we've gone through map selection yet, I want to see what Vector's playing. Because, you know, he's played a bit of Sentinel, a bit of Initiator. I know on Haven, he does play that Sova, and he's been a big player for Salvation. So has Snicker for RPG. Snicker probably going to be on that Sova if we do get a Haven and an Ascent, whatever. And I think that's actually going to be a more interesting sort of battle. I think more so than just the frags, the setups, just how the util is used.
You're absolutely right. And I think that when it comes to, and it looks like here, our first map is actually going to be Haven. That's exactly where we're going to get to see that. Looks like Icebox and Lotus both get banned. Pretty expected from both these teams. We get that Haven coming out from RPG, which we saw them, Storch, in the group stage, bring out that ISO Yoru comp. So I definitely expect to maybe see that here. Now, when they played that comp, they did have CJ on the roster, and he played one of those agents, particularly Yoru. And we actually had Bando, 5AM Azumi on that ISO. Now that they've got the changes on the roster, I'm not sure if that's what they'll play, but the last time we saw RPG, we actually saw Hunter picking up some of that secondary duelist role because he was playing some of the duelists in those games. And so I think that coming into this, they can definitely stay with that comp and maybe play that. And that's, you know, an explosive style that I expect to see. But on the flip side, we've got Salvation. And I mean, Waldex, you only need one duelist if you're Salvation, and it's him, and it's on that jet. And so I think we're going to get a really good, exciting map 1 here.
Yeah, you say him. After last game, he is him. He's gonna have to live up to that big expectation today.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm really excited to see this one too, because we're getting a lot of chatter from the players in the lobby here in game, which is so exciting to see, Storch, because it goes to show that both these teams actually need to make sure they have a good mentality coming into this game. Because, I mean, both teams, you know, as you get ready for a matchup like this, it's a bit scary. If you're Red Panda Gaming, you're nervous about Waldex, and even just the leadership of OK Vector, who seems to lead his team to success so well in every round. But on the flip side, if you're Salvation, you might be a bit nervous about Red Panda Gaming's confidence, because you know they're not afraid to disrespect anybody coming into the server. So I'm excited to see how that dynamic plays out in both these teams here, because they're both playing to the same nerves.
Do we know who this new IGL is for RPG?
I think it's probably, I would assume that Izumi picked it up, knowing that he has played on this roster for a very long time and has played alongside CJ for a very long time, but I'm not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that, but I would assume it's him.
Talking with CJ a while ago, he mentioned that Ghosty had some former IGLing experience. Maybe that's where they've looked.
Yeah,
for that.
That's definitely possible. Now here we are. Agent select. Okay. So we're not getting that Yoru Aisu. We're going to get the Neon here, which honestly, you know, isn't bad, right? We saw Izumi play Neon on Sunset in the last series that RPG played, and I think he did it pretty well. So I definitely see it coming out here on Haven.
Yeah, Neon, it's a pick that I wouldn't put up on the same tier as Jet. Like, I'd say Neon and Raze are very even on Sunset. It's definitely sort of second tier meta right now for Haven, but still a useful pick.
Yeah.
And looks like we might actually be getting a double duelist here if Snicker does end up, but no. On the Sova, yeah, no, just basic comp, just add the Neon. They prefer the push over the like static hold, I guess.
And the thing is, like, there are some of these games where we get a completely unexpected comp from both teams, but I think these are expected from both of these teams. We get that Sova Breach pairing from both of them. We get that Omen Cypher, and then we have the Neon versus the Jet. So definitely two very standard comps here on Haven, and I definitely agree with you. I don't think Neon and Jet are necessarily as interchangeable as like Raze and Neon would be on maybe Sunset, but I definitely do think that if you play that Neon right, and especially if it's Izumi that's the one on it, you can find a lot of success here. Now, they're starting on the defense, Red Panda Gaming, so I definitely expect them, you know, just from the way they've played before, to utilize that Breach and that Neon together and go for that mid control, maybe go for some early A fights. And on the flip end, I expect Salvation to do the exact same thing. Wildex just dashing right on in and going for fights. So we're gonna see, you know, kind of tit for tat aggression here, I think.
Yeah, and already a lot of pings coming down onto A long here. Looks like they're really gonna try and isolate a sort of fight, maybe.
Yeah.
I do think this might be the first time that I've casted a Haven game where we've had two very principled comps, and I'm very excited.
Yeah. It's going to be a really good matchup here between both of these teams, especially Wildex on that Jet against Izumi on that Neon. I mean, now Vector is on Sova here. So that's something that I forgot to mention when we were in that matchup. Zirconium's actually the one on the Cypher, you know, which makes a little bit of sense, but it's a bit of a pace change for Vector. Do you think that might affect them going into this negatively?
Well, we saw them play it in their last game against ULA, and it seemed to look pretty comfortable for Vector. I don't really like that. I think it's a much better role, especially on Haven, when it comes to IGLing. You get a little bit hard because of how much you really focus on that Sentinel lurk, but on a set, the Sentinel can do fine. And coming straight into it, both stuns coming out. Izumi taking a peek, not gonna find anything. Walter White trying to find Snickerdoodle, who's taking that orb. He's gonna get at the orb and lands a shock for quite a bit of damage there, actually.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a way you want to start things off if you're Red Panda Gaming. Get that chip damage nice and early in these pistol rounds and try to take some of those regen shields, if there's any on the board, down. Nonetheless, looks like the take's coming over here towards A. Al drones exchanged. Now that leaves Vector in that scenario out towards low HP. Wildex already out onto the site, but he goes down. The Star Duelist for Salvation taken out of the equation on the pistol round, and it looks like they're on their back foot here, so they're going to regroup.
Boosting Zirconium. Zirconium able to find a big pick now. B site wide open. Homie, he's going to try and re-clear it while Izumi's rotating through spawn. Walter White gets tagged out by the drone, has to leave. But Zirconium, Izumi. Izumi finds the pick. 3v3 retake, and two members of Salvation very low in health.
Yeah, that's not how you want to go into the retake here, but it looks like Sirius wants to get ahead of things. Able to take one down, 15 HP for Vector. And the taps comes down onto the spike. You see the pings from the attackers, but they're not able to get it. He's still defusing. On it, goes through the smoke, not able to land the shot, and there it is. Pistol round for Red Panda Gaming.
Wow. And very nice round from RPG there. You know, really good stuff on the responsive util. Second, they're pushing out onto site. Flashes are coming out, shock darts are coming out, darts. I mean, even a Paranoia maybe a little bit overkill, but they were able to hold the site, make them rotate, and good good regroup for the retake.
Yeah, 100%.
No, an approach at a fast B here. I like this as an eco strat. See how they do it. No, there is a trip there. Gonna get tagged out, and the spam hunter gonna be able to find a kill. Homie now finds 2 as they're coming onto site, and now
One enemy remaining.
Codex alone on site gonna fall. It's all up to Walter White.
Yeah, and he's only got a ghost to get it done too. 1v5, I mean, against RPG, it's going to be really hard to do this, and I know that on a round like this, what you're looking for, Storch, is as much damage as possible to try to gain some early economical advantages, but, I mean, against a squad like RPG and the setup that they have, Spike is in their hand on B. I don't think he's going to be able to find any openings here. Looking for some towards garage, though. Moving up towards mid. I think they can actually start to hear him as well. Looks like he wants to get right ahead of it there. And there it is, the Bucky on the Neon moving through, but Comey to confirm the kill with the Spectre. 3 on the round, and a flawless second round from Red Panda Gaming.
Yeah, the flawless for RPG, that's big for them. They keep these guns. Maybe they can try and get something against these rifles.
It's a much wider default here from Salvation. 2-1-2. And Vector's actually the one. It's going to move over here towards the garage space. Try to look at the setup here, but the drone, he gets right past it while he's on it. Wait a minute. He moves right through. He didn't see him. They've completely passed each other, but he saw him at the end. Comey actually takes down the kill. A little bit of a teabag there to follow up, but there it is. Picks up the Vandal. And right now, once again, Salvation forced on their back foot just a little bit here. Zirconia moving out towards the site, and Hunter, right off the back of the flashpoint on the default box, is able to recover both players that has moved in there. And you even have Izumi here with the Bucky pushed up into this corner, so they're running right into this close-range, potent weapon. I mean, there's just not much that Salvation might be able to find here.
Ooh. Izumi gonna find the pick, gonna slide out onto Wowdex, and just grab him too. 3-0 for RPG, and this is not what we were seeing from Salvation last time they played.
Probably best to play as a team. Oh, what's the plan?
They're looking a lot more scared, and they're not really clearing every corner. Not even just that Bucky, like going onto site, not all the corners are being clear. I think, you know, maybe they could have used some flash drills.
Yeah, I definitely think that you're right. It's definitely not the Salvation we've seen in other matchups in this early game. Wilddeck's yet to get on the board here. And I mean, the thing about Salvation for me, Storch, is when they get that early start, that's really what gets them on top. I notice in matches where Salvation have a slower start, they have a harder time getting into the matchup. And I mean, that's something you want to diagnose when you come into playoffs match like this against a team like RPG.
Yeah, and Comey, he's ready for that paranoia. Not really anybody to play off of it. But that smoke coming down for C just as the hit's about to come through. And Ghosty spotted out. Nice shot from Wowdex. Deletes him from the game, and Hunter stuck back sight now.
Oh!
Sirius gonna find it. Deagle Demons over here on Salvation. Comey gonna get refragged, and wow, every sheriff shot falling.
Oh. Whoa! I mean, the sheriff shot's good indeed, Storch. I mean, all of them are just landing onto the heads right now in Salvation. As soon as we say they don't look the same, they start showing up. A Snickerdoodle in the clutch situation. The dart goes towards backside, and he's able to get that wall bang because of that. Owl drone to come through, clear out the close angles. Zirconium does take it down, but Sirius goes around with the Bulldog, but ooh, it got really close there. The Thrifty from Salvation and Zirconium to land things off, and Salvation have found their first round into this one.
Yeah, and that's big. I mean, that just shows you the level of these two teams. Those sheriff shots, every single one of them hitting to win that Thrifty. And that's what's needed to beat RPG. You know, you have to hit your shots. And both of these teams, they do seem capable of it.
Yeah. And as we go into a short pause here, waiting to get things recollected for Red Panda Gaming, but gives us a little bit of time to talk about what we're seeing in this matchup so far. So, I mean, definitely Salvation, a bit of a slower start than we're used to, and I know it's early days, Storch, but I usually expect Wildex to be that person to pop off on that pistol round, right? He's got the Ghost in hand. You go for those stuns, you go for those flash peeks, but it was a little bit dismantled on pistol than we're used to seeing from them. And so that's kind of indicative of maybe the nerves that they have coming into this match alone. And so I see them maybe using this tech time a little bit to get a little bit relaxed in those nerves and realize off that round win, we are capable. We can do it. You know, if you're on Salvation's side, you get those headshots with the sheriffs. Once you get the rifles in hand, you treat it the same.
Yeah, I mean, I've loved what they've been doing the past little while, but for this game, you know, maybe they were VOD reviewing RPG, like old RPG. They just have completely different setups now that CJ's gone. Not exactly sure. I mean, obviously a different comp. Maybe not what they were expecting. And it's just Vector's job to try and navigate around that.
Yeah.
Here I'm expecting a nice, like, fledged out round, yeah.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. And the other thing, too, is I want to piggyback off of what you said about preparation. The thing is, in a playoffs match, when you're going up against another team, you're watching their group stage matches to see their earlier patterns, and you're also watching the playoffs matches, right, to see where that recency bias is and see what the most recent, you know, data is you can get on the team. But like you said, there were changes that this team went through, and maybe this team comes into this thinking they're going up against a Yoru ISO comp, but in reality, I mean, it's just a completely different comp. They're playing that Neon and that Silva Breach meta that we see on this map time and time again, so complete pace change. And I definitely think that's something to get used to here, but I think Vector can do it. We've seen very good leadership out of him before.
Yeah, and, you know, really, I think what's going to be huge here is how they use this time. They have to find a way to maybe set up, get some inserts, try and play off that. You know, having this whole tech time, so much time to just get that plan. We need to see something here.
Yep. And now it looks like this time they want to go for this C split. Aldrone to clear things out over towards the garage space. Looking to get a look of this one, but that Aldrone already forces a rotation from Comey. And you see them invest that dark cover towards mid-sight. So they expect the hit to come out soon. Paranoia is going to be in hand, and I mean, that's the big stopping point, but I love this from Salvation. They're actually trying to throw a piece of food onto the platter of RPG, see if they take a bite. They throw that cloudburst on sight, see if they can get the Paranoia out of their hands. Look for a reaction, but he doesn't dash into it. So they're looking to regroup right into it.
Here.
Snickerdoodle opening things up onto Zirconium. And Vector, the leader for Salvation, actually moving in towards this garage space. There it is. Right onto the site. Rolling Thunder does land. And Comey's left on the site right now. Flashpoint forces him off the angle momentarily. Hunter's Fury coming out from Snickerdoodle. Does find damage onto Wildex. Almost taking him down, but uses the updraft to get out of dodge. Looking for it. Does take down 5am Izumi, but two immediately trades coming out from RPG. Walter Wright left into the smoke. Looking for a clutch here. The shots come through. He's aware one is off. He's going for the dart there, almost lined up, but there it is. RPG securing their 4th round of this map.
Thanks.
And Comey, he's actually going to live that round unscathed. After he was back sight, they didn't quite pick up on the fact that he was there, just getting away for free. The counter Stovall, you know, just made every player on Salvation forget what was going on and just panic. Now here, if I'm Vector, I'm focusing a little bit more on my pre-rounds. You know, honestly at this point, if they lose the next round, we're in timeout time, I think. Especially on an attack half. So much harder to come up with those ideas, come up with those counter strats. Could soon be time to just look for the coach, for some help.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, especially on an attack-sided map like Haven. You want to recover as many attack rounds as you can. And it looks like going into this, they're taking a very passive approach here, Storch, on this eco. And I would assume, as you said, actually, Vector's going to need to take some time to think about it. And you can actually use rounds like this to take a slower pacing and actually think about the next round as you go through it. And Wildex.
How did Wildex?
I know exactly where
Yeah.
you are.
I mean, he just dry took that fight right there.
Yeah, didn't even know he was up top. No, trying to crash onto B. Hunter gonna get a pick. Izumi's there as well. Hunter and Izumi. Breach Neon duo. What are they gonna do here? Izumi, he does only have that stinger. He can't afford to get a little bit more aggressive. And look at Vector. They know that he's there, and Ghosty gonna find that pick. Great intuition from him. And now Salvation, they have this A site. And how has Izumi just gotten walked up on? Wow.
Yeah, it looks like he had his knife out towards back sight there, but that's also a stinger recovered as well. And that takes down another player, so far finding value out of the recovered weapon. Going for the tap here, but he knows the Rolling Thunder comes through. Yeah, but unfortunately he wasn't able to get away from it in just time. Ghosty drops down from heaven and is able to take both players down, and that's a 5th for RPG.
Yeah, and what a great protocol coming through from RPG there as we come into this timeout. The insta breach ult, even though, you know, Salvation, they knew maybe they could have used an Omen Smoke. I wasn't quite sure of what util they had. I did, however, see that Sirius kind of wasted his paranoia trying to blind the guy's sewers, but just ended up not doing anything. And in this timeout, what do you think Salvation's looking to?
Yeah, I mean, right now they're just going to have to change the pacing here. I like this switch up that we're getting from them. It's a lot slower of a pace that I'm used to. But I think they need to just find Wildex more fights. I think especially on pistol round, they were just walking up towards A, looking for contact fights, and they did the same thing this round right before this timeout. I think they just need to look for more openings from Wildex, get him paired up with that Breach in the Sova, and just kind of run as a trio during the mid-rounds. They're doing some really thin defaults right now, and that's really hard to do against a team like Red Panda Gaming because those guys love playing together, as much as they can on the defense half, not spreading so thin, on this Haven 3 bomb site map. But they also have a lot of potency when it comes to the micros and when it comes to those gunfights. And you have to set up Wildex a little bit more than they are right now if you want to win those fights.
Now, getting into this round. Going for an A push here, very fast for Salvation. Ghosty, he's ready for it. He has this kill trip, but with this Cypher nerf, the kill trip, it just doesn't do as much. He's looking to find it, and he is going to get wallbanged. Ghosty finding the pick. Nobody to break Wildex's trip. And now, down numbers in this retake. 3 ults on the side of RPG. None of them particularly useful here, but still could catch out. Ghosty gonna fall heaven.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a peak that you don't want to go through, but I mean, Sirius is down to literally 1 HP, so definitely going to be able to take him down if they push through together here. Zirconium is also low, and that's who's creating this 50-50 angle here. Aftershock comes right on through. He's actually looking for the shots, but he goes down. Overdrive is coming out from 5A Mizumi. Over towards Long. Walter White trying to get the picks, but Vector looking for the angle, but 5A Mizumi once again taking down that kill, finding a lot of value out of the overdrive. Now, I want to mention something that you said during that mid-round, is that no one was there to break the trip for Wildex. And one of the biggest things that we've seen from Salvation thus far is that Wildex is able to get so much impact because he has support. Right now, we're not seeing that level of support, and I know I said this during that timeout while the coach had time to fix that, but, I mean, that's a glaring issue right now, Storch, and I think they've got to fix that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every time he's coming onto the site, it feels like the closest person is maybe 10 meters behind him. They need to stack at least 3 towards where he's entering. That entry point, that has to be the focal point of your push. You can't just let 3, flood through sewers late. And even then, sewers are so tight. But here, they have all of this garage space. Comey, he's going to try and get a timing. Dodges the cam. And they've missed him. But no, he's going to break cam. Able to find one. TPing across. Can he survive? Zirconium trying to find the jumping shot. He does get out.
Yeah, I have no idea how he did either. Wildex, once again, no support. Moving up by himself. Ghosty recovers 2 picks there from the corner. Coming out of garage, Walter White by his lonesome with the Guardian to do as much damage as possible. Spycam spots him out, but he does get the tap. But he's getting flanked by Izumi here, and that is it. That is all she wrote in this round. 7-1 and a wide lead for RPG so far on this map.
Yeah, and RPG, they've done a really good job of, you know, noticing when it's time to back off and when it's time to initiate the fight. And when they do initiate a fight, everybody's ready to throw a piece of util to help. The togetherness is just so good. It's something that we haven't seen, like, even from them yet this tournament. The evolution of RPG needs to be studied.
Yeah.
Careful. On my way. Right there.
Now, we're going to see a fight A, Robbie.
Yeah, and I mean, from the shadows immediately towards heaven, really nicely done there. I love that little set piece. The fault line actually went towards long so that he can stick that from the shadows and just kill that player from heaven. It's really nicely done from Salvation. Now, I'm expecting these layers to kind of stay in it, but Sirius turns around at the wrong time. Does get out with the Shrouded Step, though, and right now, for the first time coming into the retake, RPG on their back foot. Now they've got access to the Rolling Thunder and the Hunter's Fury on the side of Salvation. But on the flip end, only a From the Shadows and Neural Theft for RPG. Smokes come out, and it looks like he wants to turn around and anticipate that lurk to come through. But Comey ready with the Paranoia towards mid-sight. Ghosty creeping forward on the dark cover. There it is, towards Hell. You've got the Aftershock to come through, but they've baited out the utility successfully. But they've used a lot of their own. Ghosty taking two down the one-way from Zirconium. Able to land the shots onto the stunned breach. Backside, 8 bullets left in the chamber. Looking for more. They line up. He's able to recover, and Walter White gets the clutch, and there's the second for Salvation.
Now, they lose that money, but in turn for losing that money, they're able to keep both Rolling Thunder and Hunter's Fury. Maybe they go for a C hit here.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, Walter White, very nice shot. You know, the Ego Peak probably wasn't expected, you know, just because he had the ult. They were probably calming for it. And, you know, just takes the peak, gets the kill. Very nice. Now, an early C pick. Ghosty, he's ready for it. Are they going to be able to break these trips? What are they going to do about them? I'm just going to breach ult and hope for the best.
Yeah, hope for the best indeed. And this is the round that they have to make it happen. Get that support towards Wildex. He comes onto the site, but the thing is, no one's home. Hunter's Fury again, though, from Snickerdoodle. That's the second one now, but this time Wildex not able to get away with it. Yeah, he goes down, and that's such a pivotal player for Salvation in the post plant that goes down this early. And even the shock dart to land on Zirconium. I mean, right now the utility from RPG are changing the course of the round. Aldrone to come out, sift things out towards the site and the Aftershock as well, but Sirius not able to manage things towards default. Walter White in the corner, and there it is. Hunter's Fury to come right on through, sticks right onto the half of the spike. He puts it away, helps out his teammate, but it's halved. He's defusing, and Izumi is on the case in an 8th round for RPG.
And easy spam now coming through. RPG looking very confident right now, trying to get into Salvation's heads. Salvation, they just have to not let them in. And, you know, they have to find a way to stay grouped. Time after time, they're just giving up the ones. No util is being used together. It just feels like this Haven map, it's been their downfall now one too many times. I think they have to look towards other answers. Their Ascent is so good, maybe an Abyss? Hunter gonna try and grab this orb. Can they catch him out? They do, and the dig coming through, 128. And Zirconium camping up. They're gonna go for this hit. Stun's coming through. Izumi, he's gonna come out of the site. They're just gonna play off for this retake. Now, trying to get aggressive in this smoke. Wowdex gonna creep up, trying to find something. Not quite. And the retake is coming.
It forces him off position as well. He's got to get right out of dodge. The Aldrone actually finds him out. High gear comes right from Izumi towards the back site, and he's capitalized off the back of that, but the Sheriff, Classic rather, landing onto the head of Izumi from Zirconium. 2 picks immediately coming out from RPG. Walter White left with the Sheriff. They are demons with it, but that's all she wrote. RPG securing that 9th and keeping 4 alive.
Yeah, and
last round before the switch.
Salvation, they need an answer. Their retakes for RPG, they've just been so good, so layered. Everything, it seems, pre-planned, and that's what you need as a team, and that's what Salvation seemingly don't have for their post plans.
You're right.
And honestly, I might have even considered a use of a timeout here. Like, just feels so important to try and regroup. Zirconium trying to look up quick, but Comey, he's aware. Comey gonna find the pick. Zirconium, no more Cypher, no more flank watch. Well, the white goes huge and packs up 2 coming from C.
And that's exactly what you need. After that Cypher goes down, they can immediately trade. But want to come over towards this A site this time. You see Wildex adjusting, goes for the updraft and tailwind towards middle site to dodge the trap wires, but there it is, that nerf comes through. When he hits that trap wire, it's actually not enough of a window of time for Ghosty to capitalize off of it, but Sirius has managed his way to walk through B site, but the shrouded step and the pickup of the weapon gives away his new positioning, so Comey gonna take him down, but the spike is actually regrouping over towards the C site, and Wildex has all the information on where the players are coming from.
Oh, he's gonna go for the plant. They hear Wowdex coming. Wowdex, he's gonna have to go long. Vector has to find a way to survive. And no, Walter White and Vector, they're gonna try and go for a fight on site. Wowdex now needs to sprint over. He has no time to waste. Flashes coming through. Vector gonna fall to Comey backside. It's all up to Walter White. And Wowdex, Comey, he's low, got tagged up from the smoke. After's not gonna be used for nothing. Now, all up to Comey, 16 HP. Gonna go for the stick. They can't find him.
Wait a minute. He's
16
sticking it.
HP.
He's only 1 HP. He's sticking
Oh my
it.
God.
Oh my goodness. It was so close. But Wildex right at the last minute is able to get him off of the spike, and that's the 3rd for Salvation, but it was close.
I got your backs. Just,
Yeah, and now
you know, from the front.
coming into this half, Salvation only able to find 3 rounds. They're gonna really need to do something on defense. They need to try and fight. They don't have that sort of static hold that a team like ULA might have with a double sentinel comp. They have to try and find activity. But no, Wowdex gonna play solo on C. Breach coming towards garage, so maybe they're setting up for something. But just not really enough resources. And RPG, we're just seeing a default coming out of them. Very nice, very basic. Trying to farm some orbs. Rolling Thunder gonna get online early.
Right there.
Playing a bit slow here too. Now we're not getting anything too explosive from RPG here. As you said, go for those orbs here. Drone comes right on through. Looks like they want to approach over towards the A site. And you see the reaction on the minimap here. Players from Salvation already going for that rotation. But at the same time, Hunter and Comey have been making this space up towards the C site. I mean, they've gotten the space. They know that nothing is here. And pretty soon, this is going to be confirmed by Salvation, by the dark cover. But Wildex, out of nowhere, is able to get the pick onto Hunter. Coming into it, gets a second as Comey runs towards back site. But he gets a little bit over-aggressive there. Gets punished. I would have liked to see a little bit more discipline from him in that moment. But so far, the spike hasn't been planted yet. Walter White doing a lot of damage. He actually runs through. Spike goes down. I mean, so far, RPG have just been dismantled on this contact play onto C. Right now, Ghosty is really the only silver lining they have. He's in their spawn. Azumi throwing some warning shots over from C long, but pretty soon, and you can see them even starting to turn around and get a little bit weary. Where's that Cypher coming from? Moving towards backside. He's going to spot Zirconium. He gets on the... Oh my goodness, he doesn't realize he has armor. He dinks him, but he goes away from the gunfight. Sirius takes him down, although he gets the kill for his troubles. But Azumi is at 40 HP, slides right in, and there it is, Salvation with the second half pistol.
Yeah, and that's a very important round from them. You know, static hold, maybe not the best decision on that pistol, but worked for them. Wowdex got to that round. Maybe he's coming back online, Robbie.
Yeah, and that's scary too. The moment Wildex starts turning up, you got to shut him back down. And that's the thing about RPG, Storch, is if you're not in their head, they're in your head. RPG love playing the mental game. And I think that if you start to get more confidence in the server, that's going to play to RPG's demise.
Yeah, and Izumi gonna get Caught out early by the Bulldog. Not going to find any picks, though. A lot of damage coming through. Snicker on 1 HP. Shock Dart's going to be deadly coming through. And Hunter, she's jumped back sight. He has that Bulldog. Go for a flash here. Trying to get something. Ooh, Zirconium.
Ooh, Ghosty goes over towards Garage, able to take down Zirconium, but 2 immediately trades. Coming out from Salvation, or immediate rather. Azumi left behind Storch does get the stun onto Wildtex, but Wildtex still going to take him down. 3 left standing for Salvation here on the bonus, and the defuse to come through.
And, you know, not a perfect round, but still keeping 3 of those guns, trying to maybe get some damage on those rifles. And, I mean, it's going to have to be a lot of damage, Robbie. Down this much, you need to try and capitalize off of your ecos as much as you can. So, we're looking towards a fast day here. Bando, I'm actually expecting him to go through sewers. I think he's going to try and dodge the fight long, just try and take the close range fight. We saw Bulldogs and Guardians aren't necessarily the best close. Dart going to catch Wowdex out. Walter White able to find 1 big pick onto Izumi. Another one. And those are 2 huge picks. 2 rifles down.
Huge picks indeed. And I mean, that second pick he got, Storch, Walter White actually had his fault line out in his hand while the second one was swinging him. He lets it go just in the perfect window of time for that person swinging to get stunned. And that's how he gets that headshot. So that timing was impeccable from him. And it keeps Salvation with 4 members standing right now in RPG, a bit on their back foot on the bonus.
Yeah, and looking towards B here. Vector, he's already rotated all the way back towards C from A. And Ghosty trying to find something on B. Salvation somehow have found their way into an upper hand on this round, and we're looking towards B Garage C split. Bomb still not picked up. And look at the position that Walter White has got himself into. They can't re-hit A.
30 seconds left.
Hunter pushing up long, has his flash ready. Comey grouping. On Hunter saw him.
Yep. And the aftershock to come through as well. Try to take him down, but Sirius is playing in the dark cover with a shorty in his hand, but he doesn't expect Hunter to swing from that side. He comes through it. They knew there was another one left on the site. So far, RPG have handled this very well. And Walter White's actually on 1 HP. Zirconium not aware of Ghosty's positioning coming away from that A site, so he goes down as well. I mean, Storch, they started off this round so well, but they were forced on their back foot. The moment those players on C site go down, and Walter White left on 20 HP with the Guardian, looking for any damage he can get here. But I mean, even if they lose this round here, which they probably will, Salvation, I think they've done a really good job of getting some damage in there, and they've made it look pretty doable.
Yeah, you know, at least 2 rifles going down. That's 3. And Walter White, huge round from him.
Yep.
Coming from a sub position, performing like this, that's exactly what you need.
Sub position indeed, and I think we talked about this earlier as well in the cast with Nick, is when you have players coming in from your extended roster, you know, the questions I usually ask is, because I think earlier we actually had Celestial playing in place of Taco Boy and Minji in their first matchup. And one of the questions, a curious one that I had asked during that is, you know, how do you get your sub accustomed to the game you're going to play? Do they understand your system? Do they play in the scrims that you play? Do they know the system as much as your regular player does? Because sometimes people actually, you know, use extended roster players, you know, just because they want them in the match instead of someone else. Sometimes it's not always because they need that person in the matchup. So I'm not sure why Salvation chose to bring Walter White into this one, but looking at his stats and also just looking at how he's playing in general, Storch, it seems like he has a good sense of Salvation. So, you know, really the reason I'm bringing this up is because it means that Salvation have more than just their main 5 players they can lean on. And if you have that, that can really play to your advantage when you get later into a playoffs, because you can just start picking and pulling people from different parts of your roster and just play this unpredictable game moving later into the playoffs. And although they're super duper down right now, they've got some good looks here.
Yeah, and I think you've hit the nail right on the nose. You know, that just really is exactly what they need. They need to be able to train their sub players, as you said, into the team. And
I'm out of here.
you know, so many times teams fail just because of that. Now, coming up towards a Izumi, trying to look for some space short, he's smoked off, and 3 members of Salvation are on site, ready for this hit. Drone gonna catch 2, and maybe making it less enticing to push. Izumi looks like he still wants it, but no, they're just gonna insert him, try and get out. Wowdex getting a pick now though, and then Refrag gonna fall onto him.
Yeah, but Walter White looks like he wants to follow up on it, grab a trade, but that recon bolt does force him back off. I think he flashed himself there as well, so move back here. But that fight over towards C between Ghosty and Zirconium goes the way of RPG, and they've gained the man advantage coming into this round. Right now it's 10-5, and at the looks of things, we're getting an 11th round win here for RPG, but if Sirius can catch him out there, that is one step closer to getting into this
30
round
seconds
here.
left.
Now, Izumi's positioning right now is what's going to be the thorn in the backside of Salvation going into this retake. They've planted it this time, Storch, for the wide position over towards Platt, so it looks like they want this garage positioning to be intentional, because he can actually see that diffuse from deep garage.
And which team was it? I think it might have been EG that did this plant, and it worked really well from them. I haven't seen it played much, but I really like it. And Scan coming through on Vector. Wow, huge pick. And Izumi from garage, gonna find the damage onto Walter White. It's 1 HP. Best he can do is try and save this rifle. Can't quite find the pick.
Well, I mean, RPG are just finding success at every step of the rounds. In the early rounds, they usually find themselves getting the pick. I think it was Wildex that got the first blood that last round, but I mean, it's all those mid-round fights as well that RPG just get the kills. And I mean, it just makes it so much harder when you don't have that duelist of Salvation, because we said it before this matchup started, Wildex is a pivotal player for the team, and if he keeps getting shut down early in the rounds like that, you're just, you know, on your back foot every single time.
Yeah. And RPG really love to sort of fake this A. Izumi trying to get scanned by the dart. And Walter White gonna find him because he's just not focusing. Serious. Pushing up towards mid. And Cam gonna spot him out, but that's Cam down. And Snickerdoodle gonna fall to Walter White. 2 on the round for him. Huge round. And you know what? That's secured the Rolling Thunder. They could try and save this for the retake. Oh, wallbang things coming through on Ghosty and Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good damage, actually. Down but not out. Salvation do have the Rolling Thunder available as well this round, but presumably not going to be needed. They're so good on these rounds when they have the disadvantage. It's almost like they should, you know, be using sheriffs anyway.
They have this A space, and, you know, jiggling C, they don't see anything. Nothing on Cam Garage. They have to know that they're preparing for something B. And here comes the rotate from Wildex. Hunter, ready for the stun. You know, this paranoia could come through for the peak. Yes, it is. And Wildex, big pick. Wow. And Ghost's the only one left, able to find a pick onto Zirconium. No time, though. All he has to do is
10
to
seconds
save.
left.
Yep. And Salvation get to save that breach ult coming into the next round as well. So definitely a couple good things stacking onto their side. And when I look at some of the other ultimates as well, I mean, they're only 2 off of Vector's Hunter's Fury. They're 1 off of the Neural Theft for Zirconium. But I mean, on the flip side, RPG already have 4 ults online, and Izumi is 1 off of his Overdrive. So I mean, we're going to get a big fight here, but this round right here, after this timeout from RPG, is really going to be very decisive for how this game is actually going to swing.
Yeah, and with the timeout, you have to make time of it, especially if you're Vision. Vision probably had his finger over the timeout button a couple of times over the past couple of rounds. Just try and regroup his team. This could actually be exactly what he needs. But at the same time, I don't think it is a bad timeout call. because RPG, they do seem to be losing their sort of energy. They need to get revitalized, and Flirty might be able to do that. I think so far this game, RPG, they've done a really good job of identifying openings. They've just been a little bit too slow to capitalize off of them. Salvation, they didn't really try to respond to anything at first, which is why RPG was getting away with it. But now, Salvation is finally sort of trying to respond to plans, and the time is just killing RPG. They need to speed up. They have even a Neon. They need to just go faster, go in. Or, you know, just try and break some util, break the cipher trips, break the cipher cams.
Yep.
Try and get rid of their intel so you can control the map more.
And that's like the main stopping power too. When you're rushing those cipher sites, those tripwires are so good against Neon. Because the thing about Neon, Storch, is Neon doesn't get the same verticality that Jet does. Neon just has really good explosive movement when it comes to getting out onto the site. But you always have to be aware of those trapwire positionings. And although they got nerfed, it's still a piece of utility you have to account for on those entries. And so Snickerdoodle gonna have to maybe use some shock darts to get the kills there. But I mean, you can also, if you know where they're being placed by Zirconium on the site, just kind of shoot them out as well. You'll see a lot of players maybe go peek towards window and, you know, shoot their gun on the wall to look for the B trip. Usually towards the right side, because sometimes you can kind of finagle it onto the box on site from the left. And then over towards C, sometimes from main. But I mean, you've got the Radianite crates in that wall, so that's usually where you have to shock those trips. But it's those small little details I'm glad you mentioned, because that can usually make the difference in your success of the round. If you have a Neon that runs into a tripwire, he goes down, and then you guys are on your back foot. Or if you have a Neon that goes in, no tripwires are there, now you're on your front foot and you kill the Cypher, and that sways rounds. That small interaction right there.
Yeah. And we're just waiting for Hunter to reconnect before we get back. During this time, you know, maybe a bit of time for RPG's IGL to step in, try and apply some of those things that Flirty would have given them during that timeout. And just, I think, a nice break for Salvation. They need that sort of mental reset, and they can absolutely take it here.
Yeah. 100%, because the other thing I know about RPG is the moment they start losing rounds, they get tilted. Sometimes, Storch, from what I hear, sometimes it can take one round loss for them to, for maybe even like a small argument to start, you know, within the team comms, and that's what you don't want to have happening. You know, you always want to find your way back into the game and, you know, get rid of those round losses in your head immediately so that you can move forward. Because, I mean, RPG is a great squad. They've got players that can really shoot. I mean, Comey on the controller has been huge right now. He's gotten a lot of really good opening picks. Snickerdoodle as well. You have Ghosty. I mean, I know Zumi is bottom fragging for RPG right now, but that doesn't even tell his full story, because he also has really good rounds where he's sliding in and getting all the kills, and the rest of his team is above him. That means RPG has all 5 layers on their squad. Nobody is underperforming right now.
Yeah, I mean, such a talented team, and yet that mental side can absolutely be the death of them. And for Salvation, Vector, maybe getting a bit in his own head with, you know, the whole IGLing. Can't quite concentrate on himself. I completely understand how that might feel. But at the same time, he needs to find a way into this series. Walter White,
Yep.
you know, right now, in the sole sort of bright light for Salvation. Wowdex, he has gotten a little bit more on track. Still, not all the shots are landing.
Yeah. And I mean, that's definitely something I wasn't expecting coming into this either. It's a very slow start for him. And we've seen it before. I think you mentioned last time we casted a Salvation game, it didn't look the way that it did the first time that we saw it. He had a very slow start before. And then he just comes into the playoffs and completely dominates. And then here he is this game kind of looking like that slow start again. And I mean, that also plays to consistency. That's a big word here that a lot of players might be missing. And I think that if Wildex really sets his mind on this game right now, even just gets into the labs after this map is over and gets ready for that second map here, you know, I think that he could easily turn up. because he started off that way in the last match. I think it was Ascent that was the first map in that matchup, and he was just getting. I remember it was like round 10, and I was like, does he have 10 first blood, Storch? I remember that, and I mean, we're not seeing that out of him right now. Yep.
One other thing I like to talk about during these tech pauses, just because sometimes they can last a while, as it does look like Hunter's back though, is I'm very surprised in the last patch we did not get any harbor changes. Feel like he could have used a few tunes, especially with Pearl coming back into the map pool. Such a potent character on that map, and it just feels like it needs to be tuned a little bit, maybe to his cascade. I don't know. Just feels like they could be doing a little bit more in their updates.
Yeah, I agree. I wish it didn't team slow. That's one of my big things about him. I know it kind of makes sense, right? Because it's water, so for either side. I feel like the team slow, they got to get rid of that. That's my big gripe on Harbor.
Right there.
I also wish that his cove itself, the smoke actually lasted the full duration, even if you break the shield. I think that'd be great.
Absolutely, yeah. And a fight coming through RPG, just going back to what they know they're good at. They're going to come through, not finding anything, but Wowdex is going to shoot at it, so they know he's here. And Izumi going really aggressive. How have they not found a pick? Both breach ults coming out. And Wowdex going to avoid a flash. Hunter going to find a pick onto Wowdex. Izumi trying to find something. Walter White, it's going to be in the smoke. Gets one. Komi, trying to find it. He's up top. Zirconium, he sees his feet. Can't quite get the kill, and Komi going to seal the round. Really aggressive take from RPG. Really like that from them.
Yeah, very aggressive indeed. And I know we were focused over towards long there, so we didn't even get to see that 3K from Hunter, but such a huge round from him. I mean, they're pushing on to the side. He's just getting all the kills, while at long, both sides of the teams, I believe, were actually stunned by the breach ult from either opposition. And so they were just completely removed out of that fight, and Hunter was able to capitalize off of the players on the side that were disconnected from what they were doing at long. So I think that micro right there worked out in RPG's favor so well.
Absolutely, yeah. And Dart coming out early. Gonna tag Snicker. They know Snicker's towards C. Vector gonna get caught out. Shock Dart gets sprayed through the smoke. Hunter finding big pick serious, getting one refrag onto Izumi. That's a big pick. 1 HP on breach. Can't quite find the kill. And Hunter gonna survive on 5 HP. Walter White and Wowdex now. Let's see what this dynamic duo can do.
Yeah, I mean, they have to do it. This round is it. You lose this round, you're out of map 1, you win the round, you have a chance to come back into it. Now, these are definitely the top players for the team on this map right now, so they could make it happen. And there it is. Bladestorm also comes through. Walter Wright landing the second shot here, but the tempo speeding up just a little bit here. There's a rewrap over towards Garage, but they're going to have to tap soon. They want to make it happen. Bladestorm does land down, but the Hunter's Fury might have been enough to secure the map for Red Panda Gaming. And that's it. Snickerdoodle has done the job. 13-6 for RPG.
Attackers win.
Wowdex had to stick there, Robbie. He had 72.
Man.
Neither of them could have survived that Sova ult. Just the collateral damage makes it unable for them to win.
Wow. I mean, it's situations like that. I'm not even sure if they accounted for the fact that the Hunter's Fury was online, and that you got to tap that spike so much earlier when you go for that clutch there, right? They got two really good picks, Storch, when they were trying to go for the clutch. And then when they get onto the site, they don't prioritize tapping that spike. So the Hunter's Fury was able to come in late, and that delayed them. Man.
Yeah, and just as it's started looking like a comeback was going to be on the way, RPG sealed the deal. Well-placed timeout from Flirty there. Able to help them regroup, get their thoughts together, win 2 in a row, bring the map home. Now, up 1-0 in the series. Going on to Salvation's map pick of Ascent. We know how good Salvation is on that map. Vector is IGLing so good time and time again there. Now, just have to beg the question, can they bring the series back after this almost humiliating defeat?
I mean, I definitely think it's possible. After what we saw on Ascent from Wowdex before, Storch, you said it yourself. I mean, that was a map that they looked really good Vector is going to be back on the Killjoy now. Now, I know that we've seen him on the Sova before in the IGL role, especially on Haven, but I mean, he just simply doesn't look as comfortable in that role as he does on the Killjoy. So I'm really excited to see him back in that role on Ascent where he shines the most, because on attack, he gets all the lurk kills, and on defense, he gets all the sight kills. And so I'm excited to see him, you know, increase his impact, not just as an IGL, but also as an individual player in the server for Salvation, and also Wowdex, who plays the Jett so well on that map. And I definitely think we're going to have a much closer affair here.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be close. Salvation, they have to win this. This is series point.
Yep.
And, you know, if I'm looking at the two teams that I could be playing, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Minji or winner of the Celestial FNR match, right?
Yeah. Yeah, whoever loses this matchup actually goes up against between the Celestial Titan and FNR winner. And whoever wins this match goes up against DSS.
Oh, DSS, right? Yes.
Yeah. Oof.
Right.
It's a tough
DSS, I mean, Salvation, you know, hopefully they're not thinking too far ahead. If they do win this match, that, you know, that game against DSS, that could, you know, be scary after what happened in groups.
Mm-hmm.
But RPG,
Scary.
They really want this series. It's very apparent, and with their egos, I don't think they're going to struggle with preparation against DSS. I think the match itself, whichever side plays, will be a very, very hard match to win.
Yep. You're absolutely right. Well, folks, we are going to find out how this series goes. This first map on Haven, 13-6 in favor of Red Panda Gaming, and we're going on to Salvation's map pick on Ascent right after this break. All right, welcome back. Here we are, Red Panda Gaming versus Salvation. I'm your host, Rebel, still joined by Storch here in the caster's booth. Now, Haven goes the side of Red Panda Gaming, 13-6, and we're moving things over to Ascent by Salvation. Now, Storch, man, that was a dominant performance. Definitely, I definitely have RPG winning this matchup in my mind, but I definitely expect it to be just a little bit closer just based off what Salvation has shown us before. Now, you and I talked about this Ascent before we went into intermission, and we expect this one to be even closer, and I definitely think that that's going to happen given how Wildex himself and the rest of the squad had performed last time. So what are your expectations coming into this?
Honestly, I think I'm expecting Salvation to be a lot better at forming counter strats. And then, also, I expect RPG to be, taking more ones, honestly. I think that's something that they can get in the habit of. And it's really up to Salvation to, make, or, take their chances and capitalize off the ones that they're being given. I think, RPG are looking like they have a bit of an upper hand here, even in the second map. This is Salvation's best map, and, without a CJ, I don't know if they've even played Ascent without him yet. And so, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that definitely, like, if they're scrimming, I'm sure they're scrimming with the current team, so they probably have some prep here, but as you said, I mean, it's not a big part of their map pool that we've seen previously, so I definitely think that we're not going to see quite the same thing we saw in Haven. We might. I don't know. They might surprise us. But one of the matchups that I want to talk about coming into Ascent, though, is that Flash Initiator lineup. So when we were here on Haven, we had Walter White and Hunter on the breach on both teams. And both of these players actually topped the leaderboard. Both of these players with the highest ACS collectively. And it's actually Walter White who comes out as that match MVP. But both of them have actually found just as much value in both of their teams. But the thing that's very peculiar about this to me, Storch, is the fact that, well, Walter White was on the team that just got dominated by more than double their scoreline. But he still found the same, if not more, success than Hunter on this role. So that means Walter White is a damn good initiator if he's finding this much value. Matter of fact, more value than Hunter, coming into this, especially shown by his stat lines here. So we know that on Ascent, that KO role is so important. It is very pivotal in having those flash lineups, for your jet, and then also those 0 points getting the information. I'm excited to see that dynamic come out on Ascent, knowing that it's a better map for Salvation, knowing that Wildex is a better player for it, knowing that Vector is now on Killjoy and is IGLing a map that he's more comfortable with, and now knowing that Walter White is this kind of player. I definitely think Salvation can take this map.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a close one. It has to be that way. RPG, they're not going to relent. If they realize this is match point, if we finish this early, we can go to bed, get our other things done. They want out. And Salvation feels like as the tournament goes on, they're just getting better. And so maybe that third map could put Salvation in a better position.
Yeah, 100%. And here we are. We're going to move into Agent Select here now. I'm super excited to find out what we're going to get here. I think it's going to be something standard, but every once in a while, Storch, these teams just completely surprise us. So I want to curb my expectations for just a second until we get the lock-ins here and find out what we're going to get.
Ooh, Cypher Deadlock.
There it is. All right, already. So it looks like they're going to play that Cypher Deadlock Yoru comp, which is a comp we've seen time and time again here on the map. Now, you mentioned the change of CJ not being on the RPG squad, which has been a narrative for them for a while now, and usually it would be him probably playing this Yoru, but it's actually going to be Izumi. Now, Izumi has shown us a lot of flexibility lately, especially going onto that Neon when we're used to him on Raze when it comes to Sunset, and right there on Haven as we just saw, and he's playing Yoru instead of Jet here on Ascent. And I love that Izumi's already in this tournament painting the narrative of how flexible of a duelist player he is, and they've done very well with it, so I like this comp from them.
Yeah, and I mean, the Yoru on Ascent, if I had to think of one player, Yoru on Ascent, my mind is going Fluorescent.
Yeah.
She just got picked up by a Tier 1 team. Congrats to her. But maybe we're seeing something out of that playbook here. And we all know how versatile that SR playbook can be.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Most recently, yeah, Shopify Rebellion. This is the exact comp that they play on this map. Fluorescent's the one that's playing on that Yoru. Then you also have the Cypher, Deadlock, Omen, and Sova to couple with that. And I'm excited to see how they play it. A lot of other teams are playing this comp as well. But, you know, namely Shopify Rebellion, because I just love that team in Fluorescent. But on the flip side, we're getting the same comp out of Salvation we've gotten before. We are getting that Killjoy and Deadlock, and they're not switching things up coming into this. Now, what's peculiar about that, though, is usually if you're going against a Jet and they're dashing in on those sonic sensors, they're getting stunned and they're getting taken out of the equation for a second while the rest of the team floods onto the site. But they're playing Yoru, and Yoru's not necessarily, he's not that dash in, he's not that slide in, he's not that necessarily movement duelist as Jet and Neon are. He actually TPs into the site, and sometimes he'll just run straight in. And so I'm excited to see how that Deadlock actually plays, or the Deadlock KJ rather plays against that Yoru, because I think it's going to be a style we haven't seen yet on this map in this tournament particularly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to play really well against this comp. Like with the KJ, you know, you could just TP past so much of KJ's util, or just any Sentinel util. I think it's really good, and this is definitely a comp that they, you know, were thinking about playing Salvation in. I think it counters their comp very well. And then the reverse Deadlock Cypher, I mean, that comp's always going to be good on defense especially. If they can just find some sort of way to create some lethal defaults with inserts on attack, RPG, I think, have a clear upper hand.
Yep. Absolutely right. And you also, on defense, you'd get that operator online pretty early into the rounds, onto the Yoru, and just go for those angles and use that gate crash. I mean, there's so many good ways you can play that Yoru on this map, and I love that style, actually. I'm really excited to watch this.
Yeah, I mean, he's already looking to go towards mid, maybe getting aggressive already.
And 10 seconds left before we get to the pistol round here. This is going to be really good.
Yeah, looking towards a mid-B split. Paranoia looking to come through early. See what peaks go down here. Wow, an early wall. We brought some intel on Wowdex. Wow, that's a lot of damage.
And I absolutely love that he gets that GravNet out. Not GravNet, the barrier mesh rather, really early, because it actually puts a lot of stopping power on Salvation early there. But here we are. GravNet comes over towards Market. They push right through, not ready for the Yoru on the other side. It actually completely catches him off guard, but Wowdex has entered onto the space, gets one of his own, but Izumi already actually has 3 onto the round. In this pistol, Walter White does get a trade of his own. Paranoia comes through. Creates a bit of an advantageous gunfight for himself, but Sirius is actually the one on the site with the spike. Bakomi goes for the wrap, and RPG get the pistol.
I don't think Sirius knew that Komi was there. And Izumi finding a couple of big opening picks there to that round. RPG just doing a really good job of sitting back, playing off of what their opponents give them. Salvation here on this eco. You're gonna try to run towards A, but that is where the Cypher is set up. So you're really dangerous. Ghosty probably gonna catch a good number of picks here.
Yeah, for sure, especially he's got that Bulldog too. Just complete spray through now. They're running up really quickly towards his cap position. And Paranoia completely puts a halt to that, but the GravNet to come through. It looks like they want to get really aggressive on the affair here, but he's pushing with his melee right through the smoke there. Wilddex still able to take down Komi, but there's the tripwire. You named it right before the round started. Gonna be running into that setup there. He's able to land one down. Snickerdoodle as well with the stinger. And Wilddex is up here towards heaven. If he can get this pick, it puts him in a good position, but he gets taken down by the Bulldog of Ghosty, who actually has 3 on the round thus far. And Walter White left by his lonesome to try to find damage for Salvation, but RPG have done their job.
Yeah, Walter White looks like he's gonna try and hide in main, maybe get somebody to push him, try and find some sort of pick, and tries to look for one to Snicker, but can't quite find it. Guardian wallbang headshot can come through, and that seals the round.
Listening.
Now, this setup on beat, it's so brutal. Izumi, you know, it's really just his playground, has the stun sensors to play off of, has his TPs to reposition, the Sova darts to play off of. If they aren't going A, then Izumi, he's going to be there really quickly, ready to help them hold this site. The fast mid going to come through. Vector, you know, scaring off Komi from that mid angle. Walter White, he's ready for that Izumi peek. Takes it. Izumi's done.
Yeah, and that passive positioning right there from main. Really good from him, but Snickerdoodle, every single time, this is what I like about RPG. Every single time one of their members goes down, you see them look for a pick somewhere else, and that's exactly what they do. Snickerdoodle capitalized off of Izumi going down over towards A, but the Owl Drone confirms that they're continuing to actually trek towards this space, but the numbers for RPG are actually here. Shock darts, maybe going to come through for that Cypher setup, rather. Looks like he's going to go for the information instead. Dart cover goes over towards Heaven, moves out towards the site, and there's that shock dart. Still one trip left over towards the site. Might actually run into this one, but you don't want anybody to die on this take right now if you are Salvation, because you're already a man down. Spike plant gonna go down. Wildex onto the wide angle dart cover to continue to distort the vision towards Heaven. It looks like they want to move out of the smoke here. Sheriff in hand. Paranoia ready to come through. Bulldog as they regroup into this. You see the grab there come over towards site, but Wildex is left unfazed, able to get one down, and Sirius to follow up Walter White from main. And so far they're making good of this, but the fight has been taken for so long before Sirius could do it, but the annihilation from Snickerdoodle confirms the round. I mean, out of nowhere, the ultimate just takes him down.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
Deadlock really good at securing those rounds with their ult. Snicker able to capitalize off the fact that they did not peek together and able to isolate one off the other. Big round win. And RPG, now their eco is so set up for the rest of the half. And Salvation, they just have to go for the eco here.
The best of the best, and we still forget the spike.
You know, I like what Salvation is trying to do. Very passive on their site takes. But in that post plant, they seem to just always be in limbo. Not sure if they want to get aggressive, play back, and they need to find, you know, some sort of answer.
Cage triggered.
You know, I mean, it looks like they want to push A in desperation here, but once again, moving into that Cypher setup. And it looks like Ghosty has a way he wants to play around it, but what a fadeaway. Vector able to take one down. Sirius does follow up, but he gets tagged by that dart there. Moves over towards the hell position, but he's still tagged. Surprised he hasn't died yet. Aldrone comes through, tags him again. He's been revealed this entire round. But there it is, Hunter, finally, right? And he secures the kill there, but RPG do get that 4th round.
Yeah, unexpected because of the save, but Salvation, they need to do more. Vision, if they lose this round, has to be looking towards that timeout button again. And
Right here.
honestly, if I'm Vision, I'm a little bit disappointed in my team's performance. It feels like, you know, they have great ideas, they have great bases, but just the execution of it, the indecisiveness, and the micro just really killing them this game. Raudex is able to find an early pick onto Snicker. That's huge. That's Sentinel down, and Izumi gonna be hiding in Switch. Gets spotted out on radar. He's gonna fall to Raudex. Raudex now 2 on the round, trying to find Hunter. Hunter walking upstairs. Walter White gonna catch him out. Now, Raudex trying not to overheat. Has to play with this team. 2v3 retake. Can't afford to lose these numbers.
Yeah. And Wildex got a little bit aggressive there, but as soon as he makes that contact, does back up here. I mean, you can just see it from him as well, just the way he's moving this map. He's really trying to get his confidence back in place and play a little bit more aggressive here, but coming into the retake is RPG. Ghosty and Komi clearing out all the angles. I'm not sure if they're going for this one or if they're just going to try to damage the economy. I think that's exactly what it is. They're just going to go for the exit kills here as they come off of the site. Not sure if they're aware of the positioning. And that dark
Oh.
cover
One enemy
actually
remaining.
blinds his team.
Last player standing.
And Wildex takes one away. Gets away with his rifle, but I mean, RPG did good damage towards Salvation.
Yeah, I mean, his rifle gets Blade Storm. You can buy one as well, maybe go lights. They could be able to scrape together their pennies for another buy. Wildex is surely about to drop his rifle over to Sirius so that he can run his ult. Now,
Oh,
opting to... he's gonna buy his teammate though. Opt for the regen shield. Now, Deadlock has switched up sights. Cypher now on B. Still with Sova Yoru. Now all grouped towards A. The stun sensor towards
should
that
run.
switch. So good. Deadlock, or sorry, KJ ult about to come through. Trying to get spammed down onto Snicker. Wowdex, he's entering the site. Has Jen and the Molly. Gonna catch that Snickerdoodle, but Snickerdoodle, because of how unexpected it is, peeks out, able to get one. Now, 2v4 retake. Surely this round is for Salvation.
yeah, I mean, they've done really well coming into this, and part of that prep. Now, I like what Snickerdoodle did there. As soon as he got scanned by the second pulse of the dart, he actually moves back over towards that position so they don't expect
One
it, but
enemy remaining.
they have preparation on the side of Salvation. Those nano swarms actually forced him out there. Just a nice little small interaction. Hunter left in the 1v4. Looking to do a bit of damage here. Now, no worries about the economy, so he can definitely go for a little bit of something here, but Walter White going to shut him down before he gets a chance to do so. And that's a second round conversion for Salvation.
Yes, and Walter White, you know, we talked about how he played last game, bringing the fire right into this game as well. Wowdex up there too. Wowdex, you know, Salvation, they're going to be really happy that he's getting himself back online here. Such a huge win condition for them. Now, coming back into this round, looking towards another A group. Cypher is back to being set up here. Comey gonna get the auditory information. Knows that they're going towards A. Here's the alarm bot being placed. These Commoner's team are gonna be so crucial. All he has is a frenzy though. Just gonna have to try and catch one off guard.
It's a bit interesting. Comey's by himself, deep towards Cat with a frenzy, but I won't ask questions because they are winning.
Yeah, and stepping down a little bit. Might try and go for a peek here. Doesn't seem like they're ready. Ooh, giving him a lot of information for free. And oh!
Wow.
I love that bait.
That's so good.
Oh, Hunter has V-Space though.
You know, I
Oh,
mean,
you hear the
they might actually
ring?
flash. Yeah. Wait, Azumi's got 2 flashes. They might actually flash out this and take this fight.
30 seconds
Maybe.
This is devious.
There it is. Oh, it's a bait.
Oh,
Immediately turn around looking for the fight. I mean, they're doing a good job stalling him, though.
yeah, but look at Hunter. Well, announcing that he
Well-
is in fact the Hunter.
10 seconds left. Spike planted.
Not even to find a pick though with his ult. 3v3 retake. Salvation looking in a good position. But Wowdex, surely he's going to be cleared out. Maybe not for this drone. And early peek from
Enemy remaining.
Snicker. Oh my god, the one's just being given left and right to Wowdex. 2 for him, 3 for Walter White. And check him PC. Walter White popping off.
Yeah. Said his name a few times that round. Wildex. Let's see if he's coming online, because the last time they played on Ascent, Salvation, Wildex, we said his name every single round. And I think like 80% of the rounds that game, he got multi-kills. So if he starts coming on fire and do the same thing right now, I mean, they can just secure even more rounds. And especially on Ascent, you want to capitalize as much as you can on attack. Even though I feel like on that defense side, it can be a bit simpler, especially when you're playing that double sentinel comp, which both these teams are. I think defense should be a little bit easier, but it's one of the reasons you want to gain a lot of attack rounds, though, because It just, when you're going on the second half, that's easier. You have more of an advantage and more momentum to work off of. So if Salvation can come out of this timeout with a couple more wins, it'd be good. But on the flip side, I mean, the win rate of RPG winning rounds when Flirty calls a timeout is pretty high. So Salvation are going to have to come up with a game plan that shuts that down here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so hard to really form sort of game plan against the Salvation team on Ascent because so much of their rounds is just waiting, finding openings, and to counter-strat that, really all you can do is push.
Let's see. Can the coach on RPG keep things ahead for RPG? This time, Izumi playing towards this mid position through the dark cover. Walter White going to move up on it just a little bit. Now, this default from Salvation, the 1-2-2. Actually really like this from them. Now, they should be breaking that barrier mesh over towards B main if they want to sell it just a little bit more. And that spam actually coming out from Snickerdoodle over towards back mid is because Izumi actually heard someone move into that position, so presumably from the comms. It's a good bait peek by Walter White. The paranoia comes through, and it looks like they want to capitalize off it, and they do. Snickerdoodle repositioned, so he actually wasn't able to assist him on that. Oh my goodness! That shot he just hit before the dark cover came down, and Zirconium also turning up. I don't know, Storch, Salvation are starting to look like Salvation again.
Yeah, I mean, on this Ascent map, they are so dominant. And Izumi getting picked off. I'm not sure, Robbie, did he not have a TP up? But Walter White behind, finding his third. There's 4 on the round for Walter White. And I don't know what he's cooking, but I mean, with the way he's performing, it might be something similar to what the actual Walter White was cooking.
A 5-course meal at that.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy because Salvation always has that wow factor too. I mean, Walter White coming into the squad, I mean, they've got a star controller player. Usually Wildex is topping this team, but this is the second time in a row that you've got Walter White on top for the team. So layers looking good, but the gameplay still needs to become more convincing.
That fast A kind of come through from RPG. Really trying to get this down. They haven't turned around from the sound yet. I'm not sure if they know Robbie. And all the way into spawn, gonna leave Comey to go for the sole flank. But there is no way that Salvation is expecting this. And the Stinger, not able to get anything done at long range. Wowdex, 16 health. And Annihilation, I think that came through from Zirconium. Didn't find anything, but his team does have free A site. Everybody's rotated towards B. Hunter, gonna fall now. Zirconium, he is lurked up. Gotta fight into Izumi. No, just gonna back off, play safe.
I mean, Zirconium has found a very interesting lurk towards B here. It was a bit odd at the beginning, but... Oh! There it is. Does get taken down, though. That's a Vandal recovered by Ghosty. Snickerdoodle still with the Sheriff in hand, but look at this wrap from Walter White. It's every time, dude. It's this guy every time. Walter White with the wrap, able to get the spray transfer onto the last 2 players of RPG, and Salvation have gained the lead.
Yeah, Walter White, I mean, how is this guy a sub? What?
Yeah. This guy needs to be on the main roster.
I mean, crazy debut game. For, I mean, a sub. This has got to be the best a sub has performed all season. Now, again towards this mid. See them take it like every time. Now, contact towards mid. Gonna find some damage onto Izumi. RPG, they look like they want to respond. Oh, Comey tagged up by the drone. Paranoia gonna come through the Wowdex. He's already too far up on him.
Yeah.
And reload. coming through. Gonna catch Hunter. Hunter.
Oh,
Repick for him. Oh,
look where
so
Izumi is.
aware.
Spike planted. Last
Oh.
player standing.
Bit of a whiff central here, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, RPG lost a bit of that micro, and Salvation, they've come back and now they're winning, presumably 6-4 on this attack half ascent with a double Senticom.
Yep. Which is good. If you're Salvation, you definitely want that, because going on defense, you know, you win that pistol. If you win it, that is. You take down that next round. I mean, the rounds are a little bit easier from there. Hunter is going to try to go for the exit kills here. But Walter White, I mean, this guy. Oh, okay. Ouch.
Scanning ahead.
Wow.
Found them.
That's definitely the TP of all time.
Yeah, no, it's the list of the TPs of all time. It's on that thing. Surely. And another timeout coming through from RPG. They now have none left. And notice, Robbie, that is Snicker calling that timeout, not Flirty.
I was getting ready to say the exact same thing. So Snickerdoodle actually called that timeout instead of Flirty. Now that could also mean that the team feels a little bit of tension building, and I did say it last map, I don't know if you remember, but RPG, they're that type of team. They lose maybe a few rounds and they're already starting to tilt, so maybe this could be a bit of a tilt timeout.
Yeah, I mean, definitely could be. I don't know if I can rationalize using a timeout here instead of saving their last timeout for a better time, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, especially with 2 rounds left in the half here. I feel like the round that we just had there, where he was playing a very long exit game, I feel like they could have just used that time to maybe talk about how they want to do this round. I mean, they had a lot of time in the post-plant that round to actually just talk about it because he was going for the exit frags. So, definitely, maybe not a good use of their time, but I guess we'll just have to find out here.
Default approach coming through for Salvation. Bando and Izumi getting very aggressive in tiles. Does get ripped. Spam can't find him.
I mean, I don't know if we just saw a tiles trap play or, but definitely
I mean,
precarious.
Izumi seems pretty trapped to me, so.
Yeah.
Oh, Walter White, maybe DC'd?
Ouch. This round's a bit of a meme here, but...
That really is gonna hurt Salvation.
Yeah, I mean, that's their smokes.
Yeah. Their smokes and their top frag. I got Toasty. The reposition. Oh, Walter White is back.
There we go.
Komi and Izumi. They have this crossfire going. Wow, Dex, oh my god, the timing.
Oh,
30
Oh,
seconds left.
Komi able to find one. Walter White finds another. It's picked off by Snicker.
Spike down mid. One enemy remaining.
all right. The round definitely stabilizing a bit more now. Salvation able to recover off the back of that very, very brief disconnect from their smokes player, but
10 seconds
Spike gonna
left.
get planted over towards B, and it's Ghosty
Spike
looking for
planted.
the 1v3 clutch.
Yeah, and Vector, he is gonna have to try and catch him off here. Crosshair placement, not quite perfect. Still, Ghosty just gonna try and play the exits here. Now, RPG really losing their momentum here. I think it's fair to say, Salvation, they've completely turned this game around. And they're not aware of Ghosty, though. Ghosty with one,
Remaining.
able to find two.
Ace.
That is some good damage, but Teabag's coming through.
Last round
Vector.
in the half.
Seems to be satisfied with that kill.
I mean, they're turning up right now. Salvation know it. Salvation know that RPG is that kind of squad. You get in their heads and you start to build that lead. And that's what we're seeing right now, 7-4. And if they get this round, that's 8-4. And RPG are going to be going up against a double Sentinel comp on an 8-4, deficit. So
look at this ult economy as well. They're 1 off Deadlock, 1 off KJ. And just looks like a free A take.
My ultimate is ready.
yeah.
They have the other 3 ults as well.
You should
So
run.
everything to come out from them. Zirconium! Not quite able to find the pick. Goes to allow the Killjoy ult. It's gonna come through, they're gonna get this bomb down. Hopefully be able to play offside. The spam towards Vector, it's gonna find him. And big picks coming through, spamming towards... Oh my god, and all the picks coming through. Wow, that's...
Oh!
How did he find those 2? And now, Walter White, he's stuck.
Last player standing.
Can't quite find the pick. That's 7-5. RPG, they are able to secure the round, but the half ultimately goes in favor of Salvation.
That was an interesting round. I mean, that post plant. So they did have the Annihilation, and that's what actually went over towards Wildex there, but he was able to get 3 picks right before he went into that. I think we saw a spray transfer for a fraction of a second there. So, again, see him coming online round by round, and as he starts to build that confidence, it stacks like a brick wall, it feels like, when you're going against him.
Yeah. And Walter White just absolute insane first half. 19-8. Wowdex 14-7. Both of them really showing up here. Snicker also 14-7, showing that he can do it on any role. Man, Snicker is so versatile, Robbie.
Cover going out.
Yeah.
Now,
Very
coming to
slow
this
round.
Yeah, very, very slow approach. Especially on this pistol, they really expected something fast. Even have the stun sensor placed for it. Seem to be going for the group towards B. Oh, Snicker actually got hiked down to 20 HP.
Looks like RPG have some nice prep coming into this. I love that stall that they had outside B. Just waiting to look for it. Looks like they're trying to read into the pistol round tendencies of Salvation. You also see a really aggressive sonic sensor from Snickerdoodle as well. Before he actually tucked over here towards main, he placed that and backed up a little bit. So they're just completely mitigating any B main or A main pushes from Salvation, which is really nice. But nonetheless, Salvation actually are just looking to bunker onto the sites. No space needed. Zirconium trying to get ahead of the grav net there. Have to take it off. Almost taken down for his troubles, but the grav net in hand. Ready for the push towards tree. Does land the grab net on Takomi, takes him down. Snickerdoodle also going down to the ghost of Walter White. Make that 2 now for Walter White, and 3 on the round. Wildex to finish things off, and a flawless pistol from Salvation.
Yeah, I mean, really good job from Salvation, picking up on the fact that they were just, playing slow, not wanting to give up any picks, and in doing that, RPG, they wasted so much of the round expecting some sort of push.
Placing sentry.
And it just didn't come, and so they had to push that A site. Now, fast speed coming through. 2 picks for Walter White, and he gets out. Wow, huge from him. Re-peeking. Has 3 on the round 4. On for the ace. And the ace from Walter White. Seems like it really just seemed like it was a matter of time. And even the coach typing in all chat now.
Yeah.
Really trying to get into RPG's heads.
The coach with the question marks. We absolutely love to see it. I mean, Walter White absolutely dominating right now on Omen. He is 27-8, Storch. The last time we were casting a match of Salvation, Wildex was in that position. But Walter White is the one on the top of the leaderboard. with almost 30 kills, only 2 rounds into the second half. Man.
Yeah, he was what, like almost a 2 KR.
Yeah.
I have the spike.
Vector now solo on B. Walter White, like really passive. You know, maybe trying to help for this speed push. And you know, just gonna TP backside. Really nice from him, good read. As Comey is trying to come through B main. The group isn't coming. They might try and regroup towards mid here. And it looks like they are. But look at Wowdex. Wowdex might get caught out here. And they hear the noise going A main. Only one, but could this sell the fake?
See, if I'm Salvation here, and I'm hearing one person struggle to break that wall, they even have to use their classic to finish it off, I'm thinking that's probably not the full team. If it's the full team, they probably break it together, so probably not the right read coming into it, but Vector is actually left here onto the site with the KJ. He's been a great player this far, but Spectre not able to land down against the Vandal of Hunter. So now they're able to get down onto the site for RPG and get the spike plant.
Yeah, and stun sensor. Gonna go down on onto stairs. No, very well set up for this. And Zirconium gonna fall to the late lurk of Izumi. They seem to be doing a really good job of hitting these sites without the duelist or the flashes. And Wowdex gonna go for a re-clear on main, gonna spot out Izumi. Falls towards logs, he gets the pick! What a shot! Now it's all up to him. Not quite. 2 picks though, not bad, and Salvation, it's their bye now.
I mean, the person on Salvation that's surprising me the most, actually, although Walter White's doing so well, is Vector. I mean, he had a really hard time getting anything on the board last map, and we know that Killjoy is his agent on this map. We say his name time and time again, but he is having a hard time getting frags here. And I think that we don't see the same kind of layers coming in from Salvation. It's very top-heavy right now, statistically. And I think that if they can find a little bit more confidence in some of the players that aren't performing as highly on Salvation, I mean, they can take this map away quicker.
And Walter White, he's ready for this B push. And he wants those picks. He's so confident in his aim right now. Get up a smoke. Comey trying to produce something from the smoke. Walter White just so aggressive. You know, he seems so aware of this. Now, still 2 towards B. Although, the bomb isn't spawned and being brought towards A. Where's Snickerdoodle is? Snickerdoodle gonna break the KJ turret. And Cypher, insert B. Everybody else is leaving, grouping A. I think this might be a little too obvious. Vector!
Yep.
30 seconds left.
Can't quite find one. And Vector gonna fall. That's a big pick. That's a rifle recovered. And another Vandal now on site. Wowdex though. Big pick onto Hunter.
And that surprises me that Vector was able to get walked in like that. I mean, he's playing Killjoy, who excels at passive information, so I'm not sure what exactly gave away, you know, his information, but coming into the retake here, Comey just doing all of the damage, getting the picks with the Bulldog. It's just Walter White in the clutch. Snickerdoodle goes for the peak. I mean, things looked really awkward there for Salvation. They were just so unaware of that A walkout.
And a timeout coming through from Salvation. I believe this is actually their first of the game, which is really nice for them because, you know, they went down early, but now they do get to just use a timeout here where they just feel the momentum slipping a little bit, still have that advantage. 2 rounds, I mean, that's pretty significant still. Vision, he has a crazy good success rate getting wins out of his timeouts.
Mm-hmm.
just been such a great coach thus far in VLE. You have to think that, Salvation come out of this and have just so much positive, and they're able to find, a little string of rounds, maybe bring them to the victory.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, for either team in a loss in this series, I could actually see it being almost beneficial. I mean, DSS, so scary, so hard to prepare for. Does it even look like they have set strats? They just have ways that they play. So hard to counter-strat. You have to think that going against, Celestial, winner of Celestial FNR, gotta expect that that's going to be an easier matchup. Maybe a little bit of gas off the pedal, get some training. Very slow round here so far, though.
Slow round indeed, and it looks like we're getting a similar setup from RPG we got a few rounds ago. That very passive B setup, getting ready for if they see any B main pushes going on, playing very far away and disconnected. And also, once again, the aggressive sonic sensor over towards A by Snickerdoodle to make sure that no pushes come through, but Izumi working forward with the judge here as they suspect that maybe a reclear over here towards B main is going to come through. So they're trying to play to the advantage of that. Walter White. Corner, I don't think it... I didn't see him. Wait, I thought they would clear him out. Walter White playing right to the corner, but Ghosty. What? Who
I think
in God's name clears that corner?
I think Izumi might have seen him when he turned around in your wall.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, but a second player ran past him and didn't even look behind. I don't think they actually knew he was there. Maybe Ghosty just didn't trust his teammates.
I mean, thank the Lord he didn't.
No escape.
Snickerdoodle able to recover some kills, but I mean, clearly on their back foot. Salvation here. Vector getting completely halted there by the barrier mesh from the opposing end. The spike plant does go down very late into this round, but nonetheless still a wide lead so far coming into this for Red Panda Gaming. And as you said, the momentum is actually starting to slip for Salvation. And it's a round like this where you start to scratch your head. What do we do after this? They're going into a rifle round. They need to win that round.
Last player standing.
Oh, and Vector gonna fall to wallbang judge. Zirconium, no, he's the only one that's left. Has to try and find something on this. Can't let them keep all of their guns. Gonna find one, but insta-traded out by Snicker. And what a match Snicker is having. We talked about Walter White, but Snicker really showing up. 20-9.
And Sirius, Vector, and Zirconium, they need to find their way into this. We've seen what they can do. All three of these players have so much potential for good, but haven't been able to capitalize off of it yet. Cam early gonna come through. Cloudex waiting on the tiles line. Smokes through. He does have the cam to check though. Ghosty, he can get a lot happening mid here, and that's exactly what they're gonna do. Up towards Cat. Izumi, he's ready for the drone. Drone coming through. Wowdex is spotted out. He's gonna try and aggress. Able to find one, and that's big. And Annihilation coming through. Snicker gonna get picked up by Vector. Big picks from Salvation. 2v4 now for the side of Salvation. And Izumi, really the only person who's able to do anything here. Komi not really in a position here. Kind of stuck. He can't help. And Izumi, he's gonna fall. Komi tagged out. Gets spammed a bit. This round really just looks like the unwinnable. Oh, 2 picks coming out though.
Cover going out.
It's 1v1s. Oh. Okay. I mean, no one clears that corner, so fair enough.
I mean, good 2 picks from him. That's gonna hurt Salvation Zico. And Walter White, I feel like I haven't been seeing much of him in the past couple of rounds, but then I pressed tab and he got 2 even just last round. I didn't even see him in the kill feed.
Yeah.
Every round, it's just something more that he produces.
Yep.
If I'm their main roster player who's missing right now, I'm getting a little bit worried.
Right here.
Yeah, somebody spots up for grabs.
Wow, and as we're mentioning that, Walter White, another pick. And, you know, he really seems a little bit cautious about going for more. Good timing, though. But they're going to hear the pickup, get the extra rifle, and they're juggling it away from RPG. Oh,
Oh, I love that.
straight into the heads. What a team play, yeah. Wait, but the group back towards B. Ghosty, it looks like he's going to go for the A fake. Yeah, but look at Zirconium. Look if that intel on B, not gonna find it, but they are there. Ooh! There's the contact. Annihilation coming through, gets Izumi. If they can get Snicker, they can get more. And Izumi.
Seconds left.
Wow, gonna fall. Big pick.
Yeah. I like that it actually goes into the smoke there with the cocoon of the Annihilation to make sure if he gets spammed out of it, he's able to kill him.
Oh,
So he
Robbie, look
does
at
that, but
Ghosty.
look, yeah, he's up on this position, but it looks like actually Wildex might be able to catch him off guard, but serious. That's a quick trade from him.
The self-grab net.
Spike planted.
Silence.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah. And yet again, last man, Comey. Can't really find the wrap, just has to save this rifle, and 11-8 now. Salvation, very strong showing in this map. They have this lead, they just need to hold on to it.
Yeah, I mean, in the first half, they win 7 rounds in a row off the back of the rounds of 4 success that RPG were able to get. So coming into the second half and that momentum, then you get that pistol round. I mean, it's just all on the side of Salvation here. They've had the biggest momentous run so far in this map, so it makes sense they're able to clinch and stay onto this lead. But I mean, once again, it's so top-heavy if you just look at the scoreboard here. But it doesn't matter, though. Layers are just fine. Walter White still going for these fights as well. Early round. Looking to sneak in right after the owl drone there. Gravnet does come through. Ooh.
Oh,
Looks like he wanted the paranoia, but look how aware he is that somebody can just walk around. What is going on? I mean, what is that pick from Zirconia?
dude, they want him.
Yeah.
Dart coming through. Little bit of a panic throw. Just trying to cross to get this bomb. And they're gonna be able to. Hunter not able to find anything off that spam. And they're out. Look at where Izumi is though. However, Vector, he does have the alarm bot. Not really much space that they're giving here. And Walter, he wants more. Clears out the close corner. Gets one. He gets out. What? Robbie, this is diabolical.
I mean, where was this before? We just didn't see this performance
30
before.
seconds left.
I mean, if Walter White keeps playing like that, this guy's got a permanent spot on Salvation's main roster. I mean, this guy should be in their matches every time. Him and Wildex are just an absolute unit in the server. And I mean, this right here, Storch, is a 12th round win for Salvation. They're on map point.
10
One
seconds
round
left.
away from taking us to a third map to go to distance in the series. And they don't even have time to get the spike plant, just kills that they're able to get. And that's all they're able to recover this round.
Match point.
And Izumi able to find 2. Not anymore though. 12-8. And this, Robbie, is where Snicker might be a little bit, like, regretting. A little bit regretful of that timeout he called earlier. No more for RPG.
Yeah. That was on the second to last round of the first half, right?
Yeah, the 4-6 went from 4-1 to 4-6.
Hmm.
And Izumi
Dimensional
just gonna
drift.
ult himself into A.
Yeah, that's a lot of info for him too. But as he goes onto the angle, Vector's actually still able to recover one. Snickerdoodle with an immediate trade, but Izumi with the judge comes right out of the dimensional drift, pushes over here towards heaven, looking for some picks, but he's gonna opt to go down. And now they're going right into the retake here.
My territory, my roof. I have them now.
And Walter White, the hero has been seized.
But no, the hero gets rescued. And Snickerdoodle, 1 HP in hell. Ooh, Hunter trying to find more. They hear the
One
two of
enemy
them.
remaining.
And Dark comes through, they know he's there. Getting spammed out. Wowdex gonna find the pick. And what a game we've just watched, Robbie.
Yeah, 13-8 for Salvation. And they have made it happen. We are going the distance, folks. What a comeback and what a moment for them to have right there. Now, we're taking things over towards Bind. That's our decider map here, Storch. And we've seen Bind very little in this tournament, but we've seen it before, I believe, from RPG. I think Izumi was on Yoru and Hunter was on Raze, if I remember correctly. I might be dreaming things, but I mean, with that map that we're going into, and from what I know, RPG playing very good comfort roles from what I remember on that map, this makes me a bit nervous for Salvation because a lot of teams, especially in the playoffs so far, I think every match so far has been a 2-0, and most teams probably aren't anticipating to go to a map 3, and I'm not sure how deep some of these teams' map pools are. We're not seeing a lot of map 3s being played, so I don't know how much prep Salvation might have on this bind, but we've seen RPGs.
Yeah, I mean, RPG's bind. Izumi, so good on that Raze. I mean, really, in my opinion, he's got to be up there in the conversation for best Raze in the tournament.
Yeah.
That's why I was so shocked when he, sometimes opts for other comps or other roles. But, on bind, it's really just going to go to the team who has the most togetherness. And for me, that's RPG.
Yeah. And going back and checking, actually, so in the RPG match versus Times, in their opening playoffs match, so it actually was Izumi that was on that Yoru, and Hunter was the one on Raze, on Bind. And Snickerdoodle was on Fade, Ghosty was on Viper, and it was actually Comey the one was playing the Brimstone. So, I mean, again, comfort roles that they have going on here. Yeah, but now that I think about it, when we were casting that match, the Bind match with RPG in it, I was so confused when I saw Hunter on Raze and not Izumi, but it makes a lot more sense now. I mean, Izumi's on Yoru on this Ascent, and a lot of times what you want to do as a team is have a level of continuity between the roles on each map, right? So if he's playing the Yoru here on Ascent, it makes a lot of sense that he's playing it over on the Bind. And I'm really excited to see how that plays out. On the flip side, we've got Wowdex, who is probably going to be on that Raze. And I don't know if Walter White's going to play Brimstone or Viper. Doesn't matter which one, but he has shown to be a controller demon in the server, Storch. So this is a really good matchup, I have to say. Bind probably going to be close, but I don't know a lot about Salvation on that map.
Yeah, I know. We have not seen it. I'm very excited for what it's going to look like. But, I mean, this little break that we have coming up is really going to help RPG regroup. Maybe just decide on a few things. Like, pre-match, I think Flirty really needs to help them control their mentals. Obviously, once it started slipping, the landslide came. And Salvation living large right now. I mean, Vector and Sirius finding a little bit of issues getting into that match, but I'm confident they can bring it into the next one.
Yeah, same here. I definitely think that Salvation could, salvage this game here. I mean, and it's an even game now, Storch. It is 0-0 in terms of the series. Both teams were able to cover one. RPG got that 13-6 on Haven, but Salvation turned it right back around and get this 13-8 here on the second map, Ascent. And they did exactly what we expected them to as well. They definitely showed up. It was a bit of a slow start, right, with RPG with those first 4 rounds. I mean, it's where we're like, oh my god, are they going to run away with this? Is this going to be like a, you know, a blowout like Haven was? But no, they absolutely turned up, especially Walter White with the 118 econ rating, 6 first bloods, absolute demon in the server. But the glaring stat for me is that ACS, 434 ACS is crazy. You know what that means? That means he got a lot of multi-kills, and we were there for every single one of them. If he can keep that tempo, and so can Wildex moving into Bind after they had this slow start, if they can keep the momentum where they are right now, RPG might actually lose this series.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Salvation coming in as the underdogs. I actually had these two teams meeting in the lower bracket. I did have Salvation winning, but going into this Bind map, I don't know, honestly, who's going to win. I think either side could take it.
Yeah, either side indeed. Well, folks, we're taking things on to Bind after this break, and I mean, I'm nervous for both teams right now. It's going to be a really good game. Now, one last thing I want to talk to before we move into the intermission here is Bector. So this series, I mean, he's not the same person right now, and I know that we mentioned it before, but I'm going to be honest with you, Storch. If Bector and Sirius were able to find the confidence and the mechanics that they've shown us before, previously, Salvation probably could have easily just taken the series 2-0. I definitely think, again, this is a very top-heavy performance. You have 2 people going 434 and 295 ACS, and at the bottom it's 103 and 72. That kind of disparity on a team is not what you want. You cannot rely on that going later, because when I think about teams like DSS, that's what you have to have your mind on going later into the tournament. DSS have really good layers. Every single person on that team is good at the game, and all of them find frags. So Salvation can't keep relying on this top-heavy performance moving forward. And I think the same about RPG. They're a very, you know, dispersed squad in terms of how good all of them are. All of them are really good at the game. And I think that that's, you know, a silver lining on RPG's side. So, you know, this might just be a super-duper close match, but I don't know. If Salvation can keep this, they'll go forward. But the reason I bring this up again is because I'm not sure how I could see a team like Salvation stacking against a team like DSS Gaming. Because if they win this series, that's who they're going up against.
Yeah, I mean, big games going forward, and gonna be exciting to see what happens after the break.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you on the other side, folks. We're going to be back with Bind. We'll be around. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and all you other lovely folks at home, thank you so much for your patience and for waiting for us to come back into the matchup here. But we do have some news for you. So the bracket might look a little bit weird here, but that is because we did have an investigation happen after the match there, as concerns were reported about the player. And we do want to inform you here at the VLE Challengers, just like you, we are continuously monitoring our players and their performance. And so post-match, we were going to conduct an investigation on player Walter White on Salvation, but we actually went ahead and did it sooner than later, given the concerns that have been raising by the community and reports that have been submitted. And the verdict is Salvation will now be disqualified from the tournament. Red Panda Gaming will be moving forward, and that also means the loser from that game was going to go up against the winner between Celestial Titan and Fanatical Radiance. But now that we will no longer have that player, Celestial Titan and Fanatical Radiance will be moving on in the lower bracket, and they will play up against each other in the second round instead of the first round. So that is what is going on tonight. Thank you so much for your patience and for your waiting, but Salvation moving forward will be disqualified due to breaching competitive integrity, and that will be our verdict here. We thank you for joining us on this first weekend of playoffs matches, and even though it ended off with a very unfortunate series of events, we are excited to get into the next matchups moving forward, as next week we're actually starting off that lower bracket run. We're going to have Times versus Ultralight Academy, and then shortly after, Celestial Titan versus Fanatical Radiance, and we're going to find out who are going to be eliminated out of the tournament moving on. That does mean DSS Gaming will be versing Red Panda Gaming in the upper finals, and in that matchup, we're going to find who our grand finalist is right after that series. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and we hope that you stick around, and we'll see you next week.